Hello, and welcome to another episode of Live with Lizzy, coming to you from gorgeous Boston, Massachusetts. It's really coming in beautiful and springy here up in the Northeast. Today, I am going to be sharing some more backstory from the poems in my newly released book, Give It a Home, which you can find on my website, thelizzycoshow.com. We're going to pick up where we left off on Chapter 5, titled Breadline. This chapter title is both a reference to the public transit system here in Boston, which is named after different colors, and the line that I used the most often is the red line. And it also refers to the fact that I was really hitting my limit in terms of stress as I was writing these poems. I was going through a lot of change and a lot of loss, and I was just having a hard time processing it as quickly as it happened. I found myself at a bit of a backlog. Write or die. I write to turn my feet from the cliff's edge, direct them to the safety of the town. Each word, a fence blocking me from the ledge. Each paragraph, a lasso on a frown. I write because I am so alive now. That didn't always used to be the case. Wanted to die, I just didn't know how to stay numb, to keep up a pretty face. I write because if I had to live it, it's clear now, I know how bad my life was, then I deserve to talk about damage. I'm evidence, I'm history, this blood. I write because finally I can speak. Let's see what kind of chaos I can wreak. So for a long time, I kind of couldn't even believe how awful my childhood had been. It kind of didn't even seem real. And part of my journey has been to accept that everything that has happened to me really did happen. And being able to write about it has been a very helpful tool. So this is just a little bit of an appreciation poem for the usefulness of just getting the words out of my body and onto the page where I just don't have to hold them. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my younger self. She dissected life like a scientist, to mostly learn from books upon a shelf, so many socialization cues missed. Observing all the girls in the classroom, looking for how to act in the right way. Raised in the style of an institution, my life was about easing my mom's day. I parented myself, Kintsugi girl. I read the magazines of womanhood. Perfect shade of lip smackers, berry swirl. If you get kissed, you simply must taste good. To learn to be a woman is a trip. If you're lucky, hands catch you when you slip. I didn't have the most sort of supportive mother growing up. I think she did the best she could with the resources she had, but she lacked a lot of the softer skills, one might say. So I did find myself looking to women's magazines to learn sort of what I was supposed to be like as I grew into a woman. And unfortunately, at the time, there was a lot of focus on, and still is a lot of focus on, diet culture and physical beauty as worth. And it was hard to see those messages as a way to get my money at the time. I thought they were genuine instructions for life, which is a real shame. Prophet. What is a prophet whose tongue cannot speak? Just wringing hands and visionary eye. You best let a good prophet say her piece. Her voice will be heard. She won't be denied. A prophet speaks so that she will not burst. Her silver toes are sprinting down the road. She can outrun crowds, even at her worst. She gains more speed when she sets down her load. A woman so released cannot be held, perhaps by gentle hands, but not by chains. She will not cease preaching, she has to tell. A hurt kept secret only brings more pain. Oh, prophet, when is it your turn to rest? Do you know that you aced your final test? I was feeling a lot of defensiveness as I wrote this sonnet. I was feeling really misunderstood. I was struggling in my job because my mentor had moved on to another workplace, and I was finding myself without the support that I needed. And I was really feeling like I was coming up short in a lot of ways. So I was thinking a lot about, wouldn't it be so nice to just set down all of these burdens and just run away? Understandable, but wrong. My mother thought kids take care of parents. It's understandable. It was her life. When her mother gave birth to the youngest, the epidural left her paralyzed. My mother was the eldest at 7. A fourth sibling, James, died along the way. 3 children still left outside of heaven. My mom tried to get them from day to day. She went with them into an orphanage until the court case settled with the docs. She never reckoned with all of her rage from stolen childhood tossed among the rocks. She thought that daughters take charge very young. It wasn't normal. I knew it was wrong. This is unfortunately a true story. My mom had a really hard life growing up, or as far as I can tell from the way she reported it to me, seemed awful. So, because she was parentified very young, very, very young, it was hard for her to see me as a child deserving of a childhood when I came along, because I had the audacity to want to be a child and not a caretaker. Confession. I have a confession to give today. There is no kneeler here. There is no priest. I grow so weary of unwanted weight. Please let me in. Let me attend the feast. The secrets that I wish to share are these. When I see parents who love their children out loud, measurably, in words and deeds, it broils me black with scalding red offense. I never got that love myself, you see. It's not that anything is going wrong. The good parents are fine. It's all just me. Went without validation for so long. I wish that I could be those little kids. Be comforted, be wanted, be like them. Yeah, this is something I struggle with to this day, is the idea of just envy for kids who got to be kids and grow up having a childhood. It's something that I think I've come a long way on, but I still struggle with. It still is hard. Teams. I've worked for many husband and wife teams. Bar owners tend to come in pairs like that. One sunny day, I noticed that it seems the wife always wears the cheerleader cap. She spreads the word so far and wide with ease. She tells the people, come see what he does. I always wonder when I see these queens, does being support staff give them a buzz? He's just passionate, one brave wife explained, trying to make his outburst seem okay. My tongue was silent, but my look was pained. I quit that damn job the very next day. I have witnessed the husband and wife team. I did not see the wife pursue her dream. True story again. I've worked at more than one restaurant that was run by a husband and wife ownership team. And it's an interesting trend that the straight couples that I've worked for, the husband tends to be the glad hander and the wife tends to be the one who cleans up the social faux pas committed by her husband. And it was always a dynamic that I found really odd, and I always wondered how it was ever helpful to have that dynamic present in a business. Crepe date. I got stood up today for a crepe date. I have to say, it didn't feel the best. I stood in chilly Boston wind to wait. Show up on time or early, the first test. I gave him 15 minutes past the hour to text or call or message, anything. At 1:15, well, this girl hit the door. Come on, man, I'm not asking for a ring, just punctuality or courtesy. I know sometimes things really do come up, but your first impression on good pussy shows smart women exactly what is what. I got stood up today for a crepe date. Maybe some other fish will take the bait. Yeah, I waited outside. This happened, oh gosh, about a year ago at this point. Yeah, I was very excited to go try a new crepe place nearby and thought it would be a good first date option, and the ding dang guy just never showed up. So what you gonna do? I did eventually find a much nicer, better man. So lucky me. Let us be stars. Oh Lord, the tower's walking down the street. She's not concerned with us. Avert your eyes. Step lively now, her lightning's at your feet. At least your cape looks pretty as you fly. Oh Lord, the red planet casts its shadow. The crown is struck, it tumbles to the ground. The fools, the kings, the popes, they all must go. The tower doesn't want those men around. Fierce lady sweeps her hand across the sky. She sprinkles flame like Salt Bay seasons steak. Oh Lord, how very limited our time, yet mortality never a mistake. The angry tower isn't in her prime. Let us be stars, drink deeply, so divine. I was working through a lot of anger while I wrote this one. And at the same time, I didn't want to be as angry as I was. But I had, again, been through so much loss of varying types. I was dealing with job loss and boyfriend loss and dad grief, and a lot of things were coalescing to just make me into one very angry, defensive person. But I could see how much I didn't want to be that person, and I was working really hard to move past it. The whites of your eyes. The whites of your sweet eyes, they contain lines, a folded map of sleepless nights and tears. So angry at the corners, inflamed fire trails tracing to the iris from your fear. The colorful island remains untouched. It stands by as the blood swirls in the waves. It cannot help, it does not have enough. It has resources, but they must be saved. The angry lines retreat in surrender to heal a quiet period of rest. Ask sweetly, death will go where you send her. Be careful, though, she will require a test. The whites of your eyes deserve to be clear. You'll be quite safe one day, kid. Have no fear. This was inspired by a day when I just found myself looking in the mirror and noticing how very bloodshot my eyes were, how worn out I looked. And much like the previous poem, I really didn't want to be that person. I wanted to find a way to feel more at peace and not feel like I was fighting so hard against life all the time. So now we come to chapter 6. If you're just joining, this is some backstory on the poems from my book, Give It a Home. which is available on my website, thelizzycoshow.com. I'll hand pack you a copy, I'll sign it, and I'll even include a cool sticker. So moving on to chapter 6, titled Crash. Little girl. A little girl is meant to be kept safe, not patriarchally, but out of love. A soft, cozy shelter, a sweet, safe place. These are the hazy things that I dreamed of. A wee person, tiny hands, big feelings. A person who cannot care for herself. Remember with whom it is you're dealing. Young girls should not be forced to share their wealth. The sole appropriate touch is gentle. The only way to speak is quietly. The single option is kindness to her. Be careful, thin trust breaks so easily. To be a little girl, a state of mind. It happens in strange places on timelines. I wrote this shortly after I went no contact with my family, which ended up being a really good decision for me. It's a very personal one for anyone who makes it, and for me it happened to be the right choice. But it brought up a lot of feelings about being a little kid and all the things that I needed and didn't get when I was a little kid that I can understand better now that I am an adult, and would possibly be in the role of providing those things. I can see now that the job that was done by my caretakers was not enough. So a lot of those feelings were coming up as I wrote this poem. Lock. I did not think that I was so complex, but when the men came, they beat me with fists. They sank to knees in frustration, bent necks. They did not think to make my dial twist. I never said that I would not explain, but not one of those men would let me speak. The way to open locks is not with pain, not by forcing the lock to think it's weak. The men could not make me comply, and so they told me that I must be defective. They pointed to the door, it's time to go, but they forgot that this is where I live. A lock that will not yield is not broken. Effortlessly, gentle hands can open. So this one refers to sort of a growing suspicion I have felt over time that I'm somewhere on the spectrum. I was never evaluated as a child because people just weren't really doing that back in the 90s, the 80s and 90s. And it's my understanding that being evaluated as an adult is sort of minimally helpful. So I guess if you are listening to this and that's not right, maybe let me know. But this poem was me attempting to explain how that feels and what it feels like to just feel like I'm just not quite built for the world as it exists. Mushroom cloud. The smoky cloud is hard to see at first. It could be anything, no need to fret. There's no good reason to assume the worst. It isn't time for us to worry yet. But when the cloud grows higher than the trees, when its lining seems to be all aflame, when you see the birds all rising to flee, you'll understand that life is not a game. The hypervigilant eyes are not here, ran hard at sight of burnt and blackened branch. The only ones left now have faced their fear, but only because they received a chance. Terror is not the only way to live, baby. Just let it drop on through the sieve. I was working through my anxiety in this one. I mean, still am, but was thinking about it a lot while I wrote this poem. And particularly, I was thinking about how important it was for me to learn to pause before I head straight on into panic time. And how useful it can be to say maybe it isn't time to worry yet. Because learning that was pretty new for me. Nobody had really told me that before. So thanks, therapy. Shame storm. A shame storm is a certain type of beast. Best tie the hair back, winds can come on strong. I see it blowing in hard from the east. I run to the cellar, I don't have long. 1,000 beating fists leave dents in steel. You're in trouble, no dinner, go to bed. Don't cry, I'll give you something bad to feel. Leave me alone or you'll wish you were dead. The shame will wrap its hands around my neck, convince me that I'm still breathing just fine. Then once I exhale my hot final breath, shame dons me like a suit, goes for a drive. A shame storm wants to make me a zombie. I'll keep my eyes sharp, I'll keep my mind free. Wrote the first draft of this poem after I got fired via email from a former job, the one that I was struggling at, actually. Wouldn't you know it, once the person who was teaching me everything I knew there moved on, I wasn't doing so well, and they found a way to get rid of me. So, letting someone go via email is pretty cold-hearted. Routine. I looked up, saw high, ragged walls of rut rising on all four sides of me enclosed. Above, no sky to be seen. Absent sun slept in that day, no warming, steady glow. I had 2 daggers handy in my pack. Earth grip, I aimed the blades down to the dirt. I hammered deep into walls. I attacked. Sometimes you have to do the thing that hurts. Hard fist through crumbling roof, I earned the air. Just one hand free at first and then the rest. Sometimes the challenges just are not fair. That doesn't mean I get to skip the test. When scars fade completely, then comes the time to separate what's theirs and what is mine. Working through feelings about getting let go from my job in this one, that's for sure. I was feeling a lot of shame. I had never been let go before. I had always left jobs of my own choice. And I was feeling just deeply, deeply unworthy. I was just trying to find a way out from under that. Winter. What is your winter? Where does it call home? Does it live in a house or in a car? Can you sometimes feel it redden your nose at night outside as you look at the stars? A season doesn't ever last all year, not even deep blue frozen quietude. Keep licking at the melting edges, dear. Spring is running so hard and straight to you. The winter doesn't want your enmity, but then again, conquerors never will. Cold reaches for your wrist. Love, come with me. Do not be fooled. It goes in for the kill. A skyward oak was once an acorn furled. I will not let the winter have this girl. Wrote this poem about a year ago, right when the seasons were starting to turn. Shifting from winter into spring is a really fitful time in New England. It's a lot of false starts into the warm weather that are immediately snapped back into really frigid temperatures. So getting from winter into spring is a bit of an exercise in patience and delayed gratification if you live in the area of the country where I am, or the area of the world that I am. And I was trying really hard to focus on the coming good weather and hopefully the coming good things in my life as I wrote this poem, rather than focusing on all of the reasons I could say, woe is me. Ashes. Gray ashes go wherever they will please. The hearth is not home, just the starting place. They let go of their former life as trees, earned early retirement, they pulled their weight. They start as one thing, then dissolve and burn. At what point can they not reassemble? A final lasting point of no return. Sail far away as long branches tremble. The humble dust, it moves most quietly. It enters through the locks and window frames. The guard dog raises its nose at the breeze, but ashes will evade. They know the game. Grandfather tree and father log concur. Their prodigal ash son does not deserve. This was a bit more of an abstract effort on my part. I was thinking a lot about what I have control over and what I don't have control over. And I was thinking a lot about ashes, because I wrote this around the time of my father's birthday. My father, who has passed on and was cremated. So I had a lot of those ideas floating around, and I thought about, like, where do the ashes end up when they are scattered after someone's death? Where do they ultimately end up in the physical world? Axis. I spent a long time learning x-axis, then equal time finding y-axis too. My limited knowledge of dimensions, as far as I knew, there were only two. But then a fucking zigzag came my way. New information, what to do with it? I've learned it's best to take at least a day to stop, to breathe, to rest, to sit with it. Z-axis is a new move I don't know, though I'm told I'm allowed to go that way. It eases me into a kinder flow. It makes the hardest things in life okay. Three-dimensional movement is complex. I'm told best brace or else you'll break your neck. I was gently dipping a toe back into dating after getting broken up with by my long-term partner. And I was starting to remember what it felt like to date people as opposed to being in a long-term relationship with someone. Sylph. The sylph, she moves through air the way we do. Yet, shake your confidence, she is not us. Her home is somewhere to our eyes brand new. Your hands move straight through her, you are nonplussed. It's time for her to explain what she is. She leads you far into the darkened woods. I am the air itself, the windy kiss that makes the apples of your cheeks feel good. She knows the bark of every branch within, observant as they fall and cease their play. She sits with nurse logs as they grow saplings. She asks them how they feel inside that day. If you would make your home here in the trees, I'll give sweet death a call. She'll set you free. Again, just contemplating all of the change that I had been through. And kind of wishing I had a mentor or a guide to help me figure out if I'm making the right choices. So I was sort of imagining what it would be like to meet that mentor. So that was backstory for a couple chapters of my new book, Give It a Home, which you can find on my website, thelizzycoshow.com. There's a tab right at the top that says Give It a Home, and you can get your copy there. If you enjoyed what you saw today, you can also find past episodes of this podcast on my website. There's a tab for that as well. And I am proud to announce that I'm in the process of recording Give It a Home as an audiobook. So that will be an offering available to you sometime in the future. So keep your eyes peeled for more announcements about that. Thank you so much for joining today. I am so happy that you took the time to listen to my poetry. It's a real honor. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Live with Lizzy. Bye.